Hi everyone, it's so good to see you again. Mother Teresa said, "Love is a fruit in season at all times and within reach of every hand." Well, that's really true, but a lot of times we forget. We think love is a feeling. Oh, it's a feeling. Ah, they just make me feel so good inside. But love is more than that. Love is actually a choice. It's an action. And it requires that we be involved with that. Not just a feel good moment, but to say, I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm going to be there for you, even though I don't agree with you right now. You really made me angry. I'm disappointed. There's things that go on, but there's a choice that we make. And that choice has to be you're choosing to love. Because it is a fruit that is in every season. It's not just at Christmas time. It's not just on the high holidays. It's on the days that you need it the most. How many of you have had a spouse or a child who became very ill during the night? Did you just say, hey, you know what? Sorry that you're sick. I got to get my 9 hours of sleep. Good night. No, what do? You stay up with that child. You stay up with that spouse. Do they need to go to the hospital? That's an act of love. You giving up something of yourself. It is a sacrifice because you love that person. And really, when we look at love, we should really look at it saying, I'm doing this because I love you. It's not convenient. I don't want to do it necessarily, but because I love you, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to go the extra mile. I'm willing to step out of that comfort zone. I'm willing to do something that benefits you, not benefits me. I'm not looking for anything other than to benefit you. And that's what love is. The problem is that we're so used to what's in it for me, what's in it for me. I want what's in it for me. But it doesn't build, it doesn't grow, it doesn't help. Some people really need to be loved because they were never loved growing up. They don't know what real love is. They don't understand that love is a commitment. When Mickey Rooney was alive, he was married multiple times. He was married quite a few times. And his one wife, I mean, every time he got in a fight with one of them, they just kicked him out. So he just thought, marriage is over, we're done. But he married this one woman, and it was the longest relationship that he had, and they got in a big fight. So he went and started packing up all of his stuff, and he went to leave. And his wife goes, where are you going? And he goes, well, we had a fight. That means the marriage is over. She says, I don't know who told you that. We just had a fight. We disagreed, but our marriage isn't over. We're not dissolving the marriage here. I still love you. I just had a fight with you, but I still love you. And it totally blew him away because he wasn't expecting that. All his other wives, when they had a fight, they said, that's it, we're done, we want a divorce. And he got a divorce. But he believed in marriage, which was great that he actually married so many times. It was unfortunate that he couldn't find someone who loved him enough when he was younger to stay within those marriages. But he got that with this one spouse, and it was very important. Now, yes, he did end up becoming estranged from his last wife, but the point of the matter is that love is a commitment. And sometimes it's really hard for us when we're looking at marriage and we're looking at relationship with our children and we're looking at the relationships with our jobs and everything else. There's times it's like, enough. I can't deal with this anymore right now. And there's times you do need a break. But it doesn't mean that you get separated. It doesn't mean that you go off somewhere. It's a choice. It's a commitment. And you need to understand, especially in marriage, you need to understand your spouse, and your spouse needs to understand you. If you didn't go through premarital counseling, you should sit down and work on your marriage every day. You should take the time out to study your mate. You should take the time out to say, I'm going to love you, even though right now this stinks, okay? This stinks. You make that choice. And there's ways that you can study your mate. I'm not saying that you sit there and go, like a cat does, just following everything they do, but you pay attention. There's a great book out called The Love Languages, and it's by Dr. Gary Chapman. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, you should. It really will help you to understand yourself better. Things that you thought were important, maybe are not as important as other things. And it talks about filling your love tank. And when you're filling your love tank, then it's much easier to love the person next to you. It's much easier because you can see it and go, ah, okay, this person, how they feel love is by words of affirmation. This person is physical touch. Just going to put your hand on their shoulder or putting your hand on their hand. Or, if they're your mate, putting your fingers in their hair and just snuggling up next to them. That's important. For others, it is gifts. They show up at the door and they have a cookie for you, or they have flowers, or they bring music. They bring you something because gift giving is that's how they get their love back. Acts of service is another one. When my mom was getting remarried years ago, she was going to the man's house, and he had steps from the garage into the house. The problem with the steps were they were too steep for her. And so he rebuilt those steps until she'd go up and down those steps without a problem from the garage into the house. And I said, Mom, acts of service is his love language. He didn't necessarily come out and say, I love you 15 times a day, but he was like, what can I do for you? That was his love language, and that was a big deal. And I told my mom, I said, he loves you. I said, men don't do things like that. And especially since that is his love language, is to he rebuilt those steps for her. He did things for her because it was something that not only she needed, but she wanted. And she really surprised him, too, because he wasn't expecting the things that she did for him. Because his other wife didn't do that for him. So he didn't expect certain things. And he's like, what are you doing? And she says, well, I'm giving back to you to let him know that he was loved. And it's important because when we show love the way that people can receive it, it makes a difference, a huge difference. And I know I'm forgetting one. I'm forgetting one of the 5 love languages. But the point is this. It's in season all the time. And if you build into it daily, you're going to reap a harvest that you're not going to get any other way. You're going to have to make some choices. And you're going to have to say, this is what I want. Because when we love, there isn't strife in the house. There isn't contention. There isn't a lot of arguing. You can still disagree, but you say, okay, you know what? Let's just back off for a minute. Let's think about what we're saying here before we get into a big mistake and say something we're going to regret. Because love is going to say, all right, let's just take a short break here. I'm not talking about leaving the house. I'm not talking about, being separated. I'm just saying, give us a moment here. Let us figure this out. Because love takes the time. And love is what people need. And when people are loved, they live longer, they're happier, they're stronger. There's things that work in their system because they're being taken care of, they're being loved. So I want to challenge you today. Love your spouse, love your children, love the people around you, and that's always a hard one, especially the people that are around us, because they're not always the ones that we want them loving on us sometimes. But we need to appreciate them for where they are and let them know that they're appreciated. You don't have to be all gushy, but you do have to say, you're important to me and I love you. So don't be afraid to step out. Don't be afraid to do something different, because you're important. And to love someone and to let them know that they're loved, nothing can be like it in the world. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.